Welcome to episode 22 of the Below the Yellow Line podcast. I am in a Joe from Blue's Clues position for the second time in this playlist. Alongside me, I have Justin and Blake. Long weekend, guys. How are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm good.
And as always, the World Racing Media Championship is on Twitter.
Yeah.
So you can check our Twitter page for that. It was hectic. I was a little disappointed after Denny Hamlin got disqualified when the Xfinity race.
That affected me too. I picked him, but then but at least I got some of my picks were right, at least for once.
And honestly, I think it's a learning lesson. Inspection is no joke in NASCAR nowadays. You can easily mess up, and I think the lug nut penalties are like really the only lenient infractions that NASCAR has nowadays. But if you mess up, tough luck. You're disqualified. They don't make it easy anymore.
Yeah. Because like the lug nut penalty it's just fine. But to fail an inspection after the race, that's where you get disqualified and put last place. That's the difference between the penalties.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's talk about the headlines. We have to start off with sad news. Antoine Hubert was killed in a Formula 2 crash at Spa in the Rodillion part of the track.
Yeah.
Outside a Rouge in a freak accident.
Yeah.
He was 22 years old and a Renault test driver. This is not the first time that we've seen awful moments like this in racing.
Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen it other times too. We've seen it in IndyCar. We've seen it in NASCAR, IndyCar, and other motorsports. We've seen tragedies like that.
Yeah, and every time something like this happens, it's a wake-up call to do whatever the governing bodies of the sport can do to make it safer.
And regardless, safety has come a long way in racing. Where tragedies like what we saw on Saturday are much rarer and rarer. And there was a time half a century ago when this was second nature and an accepted part in motor racing. Now there's rare occasions, and it was a very somber atmosphere before the start of the F1 race Sunday. So that's on the headlines. Next up, Ken Schrader, special shout out, oldest driver in ARCA Series history to win a pole.
Yep, still on the pole for that 100-lap race where he did do too bad. He got a top 10 finish. That's really good for his number 52 car. So that was good for his team for the start of the season.
Yeah, Ken Schrader is a longtime owner in the ARCA Series with Federated Auto Parts as his sponsor for years. Also, we will talk about the FIA World Endurance Championship as their 2019-2020 season opened in Silverstone for the 4-hour race. IndyCar Series 2020 schedule released.
Yeah.
And speaking of the IndyCar Series, one race left in the championship and 3 drivers mathematically eligible. And we'll go over the Portland Grand Prix. Also, F1. Silly season. And rumors are on the rise, Justin.
Yeah. Yep, a lot of rumors are going about other teams that don't have any confirmed drivers. Like Renault is confirmed. Like there's other teams that are not confirmed. Like the second Williams driver. There's George Russell has a 2 years left contract because he had a 3-year contract at the start of the season. So the second driver is unknown for Williams race team. So that is unknown. The Toro Rosso, we don't know. People think that it's Gasly returning, but the Toro Rosso did not confirm anything. Albon probably will return to Red Bull, possibly, if he does enough good job like this weekend. It's just like for Formula One, they have to like. We know that that Perez has 3 years left at Racing Point, announced this weekend. Lance Stroll was announced this weekend that he's returning. So we know Stroll and Perez are going to be next year, will still be at Racing Point. But like we don't know if Giovinazzi's returning to Alfa Romeo. Raikkonen's returning. But there's some teams we don't know if the same drivers will be there. Because people are thinking about Latifi gonna take over Kvyat's right, but that's unknown. We still don't know if he will. Because they still have to decide and still Grosjean is unknown. Magnussen is returning. Grosjean, we don't know if he's returning to Haas. Like Toro Rosso, we don't know if Kvyat or Gasly are going to return to Toro Rosso. We don't know if Albon will be at that Red Bull team. So there's a lot of mysteries to see who's going to what team for 2020.
I think Alexander Albon, to be honest, he made a statement in that first race. Yeah, it's a P5 finish, and unlike Max Verstappen, who was the last driver for Red Bull to get switched mid-season from Toro Rosso to Red Bull, he won in the first start.
Yeah.
I see good things on the horizon for Alexander Albon.
Also, Alexander Albon, he actually qualified. He got a grid penalty. He started 17th and got 5th. And also, that was impressive for I liked how Albon was driving. He really made good moves to pass people, and I'm impressed. I think Albon, if he could qualify better, like not with a grid penalty fee, the next race at Italy, that's Sunday. If he doesn't get a grid penalty, I feel like he'll do good. If he
we'll get more into F1 in just a moment.
Yeah,
because we're gonna kick off the podcast with the Southern 500 for race 25 of the NASCAR Cup Series season for 2019. Yeah. Eric Jones scores his second career victory and first of 2019. Now, all Joe Gibbs cars have found victory lane this season. He led 79 laps, and this is the 7th total win in the Southern 500 for Joe Gibbs Racing.
Yep, that was. I'm happy for Eric Jones. He did good in that he led 77 laps out of the 367. He was up front. He battled with Kyle Larson for a bit, but at the end, because Kyle Larson got jumped by Kyle Busch off pit road, Kyle Busch was really putting the pressure on Eric Jones, but off turn number 2, Kyle Busch hit the wall harder and fell down to 3rd place. That Kyle Busch led the most laps after starting 37th. Kyle Busch got to the rear because the engine chase, so he started 37th. I'm impressed that how he got up there and led a lot of laps. So he led the most laps with 118, I think. I know second most was Kurt Busch with 94. So that was a good race for that Eric Almirola clinched in to the playoffs because he's more than a race ahead in points. So he clinched in. Ryan Blaney's already clinched in. So a lot of drivers that clinched in. Kyle Busch clinched the regular season championship because Joey Logano. Recently, Logano has not been up there contending. He's been mid-pack. Because the last 2 races, Logano's got 20th, and he didn't do too well at Michigan. Darlington. So I don't know if Joe Logano is going to have momentum for the playoffs. That's still, I don't know.
I think Joey Logano will definitely keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
I think Indianapolis will be just a preparation race for him.
Yeah.
But Las Vegas, Logano won the first race there this season. I think he's going to win it again, but that's for another story.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the top 10 here. Eric Jones, aforementioned, 79 laps for his second career. When Kyle Larson led 44 laps, started third, he finished second. Kyle Busch,
third place after starting in the back. He closed in on Eric Jones, but he was pushing it a lot to try to put the pressure, but bounced off the wall a little bit to rally him to third. That's still good, third place. That's really good for him. And I forgot who's in fourth. Who's fourth?
Fourth place was Kevin Harvick.
Oh yeah, Harvick led 9. I know Keselowski got 5th. He led 19 laps.
By the way, Kyle Busch led the most laps.
Yeah, that's impressive.
With a car that barely spent any time on track. And what's even more impressive, Kyle Busch had a puncture with 2 laps to go, still managed to get a podium finish, third place.
Yeah.
So Harvick, Keselowski, the top 5. Clint Boyer, who's 15th in points and must have a good race at Indy to make it in the playoffs, 6th. Kurt Busch, 7th. Matt DiBenedetto, his 6th top 10 of 2019. And here's a fun fact: 4 top 10 in the last 6 races for Matt D.
That's really good for Matt DiBenedetto. 8th place at a track that, Darlington is usually one of the toughest tracks. 8th place. That's really impressive. That was really good. He was battling with other drivers like Alex Bowman early. You're in the last stint until Bowman had his tire issue towards the end. So that was good for that. Everybody for the 95 team.
Yeah, absolutely. Impressive drive there.
Paul Menard and Austin Dillon round out the top 10. Menard is in a must-win situation to make the playoffs. So is Austin Dillon. In fact, they have a combo of 7 top 10s this entire season, 3 for Menard and 4 for Austin Dillon. And Dillon sits 23rd in points. Now, here's some notables, because many of them finished outside the top 10.
Yeah.
Daniel Suarez, 11th. He's 16th in points, tied with Ryan Newman right now. If there's a tiebreaker in this situation, it appears that Suarez would get the nod. Chris Buescher, last car on the lead lap, finished 12th. Then Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Martin Truex Jr., top 15. Jimmy Johnson, who had a very solid run last night.
Earlier in the race, yeah.
He's 18th in points.
He did. Yeah.
Outside.
Yeah, because he was running. He led some laps too. He led 9 laps, but the problem was at the end, the Hemrick blew a tire and he got caught up in that mess in turn 4.
Right. And Eric Almirola, 14th in points. I think he's locked in.
Yeah, he got clinched in.
Alex Bowman, Chase Elliott, William Byron, 18th, 19th, and 21st. So the Hendrick car started well, but they didn't finish the same way.
I know at the end, after the pit stop, Bowman was the highest one in 8th until he cut a right front tire down. So that's why he fell back. Chase Elliott was good early until he had some issues. Byron did not even lead a lap from the pole. He just fell back. So I don't know what happened, but I don't know. Maybe Indy will be good for them because we've seen Hendrick has success at Indianapolis.
All right. And here's some of the rest of finishers that I've written down here. Ryan Newman, 16th in points, tied with Clint Boyer. He's 20. He finished 23rd. Denny Hamlin, 29th, led 22 laps, struggled towards the end. Joe Nemechek made his first Cup start since 2015, got a 31st place finish. Yep. Daniel Hemrick, 37th, and BJ McLeod, 39th.
Yep.
All right. So the playoffs look like this with one more race in the regular season. So the drivers locked in: Kyle Busch, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr. with 4 wins. Then Brad Keselowski has 3 wins. Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, Chase Elliott have 2 wins. And Kurt Busch, Alex Bowman, Eric Jones are locked in with 1 win. Now, here the drivers locked in without scoring a win, but based off their stage points, they managed to get into the playoffs from 11th to 14th in seeding. Kyle Larson, Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Eric Almirola.
Yep.
And this is the bubble drivers. 2 drivers on the bubble. Clint Boyer, he's 8 points to the good, while Daniel Suarez is literally tied with the tiebreaker compared to Ryan Newman. And Jimmy Johnson is 18th minus 20 points out of the good. If that stays and Indy's not a positive race for Jimmy, this will be the first time ever in his career that the 7-time champion will miss the playoffs.
Yeah, that would be. I've never expected that from Jimmy Johnson because he was really dominant. But now, his recent years in Cup, like his recent years, he's not been the best recently. Like, so that would be. I feel it would be really strange seeing Jimmy Johnson not in the playoffs, like compared to other years, like 2016, where he got 2 wins early of the season. Then after that, no wins until Charlotte in this chase, and then won that. Then in the round of 8, he won the Open. He won at Marshall, and then he won Homestead. But then the 2017 season, that was not good. He had wins until Dover. That's Pocono. That's where bad luck. But then 2018, no wins. 2019, the only thing he has is the Clash win, where he got in the Paul Menard late and the rain came and he won. But other than that, it's not been a good season also for Jimmy Johnson.
Right, and they've gone through crew chief changes, and I think that's just a last-minute scramble to find some last-chance spark of performance. And I see some key differences between Kevin Mindering earlier this season and Cliff Daniels.
Yeah.
However, it might be too late, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to recognize red flags in chemistry earlier rather than later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned that it's like a scramble to find performance, and as far as that goes in racing, that usually doesn't go well. Usually that ends badly, and it's like psychology. It's like when you're rushing to get something prepared, it's not going to be very well prepared, and it's more than likely going to backfire. So I don't see that going very well for Jimmy Johnson.
Yeah, like that 48 team, like they've been through crew chief changes since last year. Like they've been changing up things, and pit crew, people think it's the pit crew's fault. But even if people think it's all on the pit crew. For me, it's not the pit crew's fault for the 48 team. The pit crew does not put the engines and all that and the setups in the car. That's not them. It's the engineers that do that.
The engineers, pit crews, everything in between.
Yeah.
They each have an effect.
And people think that a lot of people say, oh, Jimmy Johnson doesn't deserve, the other drivers doesn't deserve these better pit crews. Like people say, oh, Chase Elliott has a better crew. That should be Johnson's crew.
Yeah.
But I feel like, why, like people think that, oh, Chase Elliott, he's not the better driver. He's just there because of his name. Chase Elliott has talent. Chase Elliott has a good average finish this season. Alex Bowman has not a bad average finish either. And Byron's also. Johnson's average finish is Johnson's not been the best this season. It's like it's oof. But Jimmy Johnson's average finish is okay, according to Racing Reference. 16.2 average finish, an average start of 13.8. That's usually not Jimmy Johnson because in his 2006 championship, in 2006, he got a 9.7 average finish. That's where I get kind of concerned that your average finish is dipping down compared
that
to
was
being.
his fourth season in NASCAR compared to Jimmy. Here's the thing: Jimmy Johnson isn't the same as we've seen him in the past, early in his career.
Yeah, because you don't stay most drivers they don't stay competitive for long.
Or they find their prime moments and then they start to execute
Yeah.
later on. Like for example, Martin Truex Jr. It took him, say, from 2006 to I'd say 2015 until he really got hot, and eventually won a title in 2017. It took him 11 years for that.
Yeah.
Compared to Jimmy Johnson, it took 4 seasons.
Yeah. Then he won 5 seasons in a row.
Yeah, 5 consecutive.
And then he won his 6th in 2013, and then his recent one in 7th title in 2016, which is the last driver to win consecutive championships. Nobody has done it since Jimmy Johnson. So that's still, I don't know what's going to go with that 48 team. We'll see what they do. They could finish the season not badly and try to focus on 2020, which that's when Jimmy Johnson's contract ends after the 2020 season. So 2021, we still don't know what's going to go on for them. So I feel like Jimmy Johnson just needs to focus for the rest of this season, and then he can build on a better 2020 season.
Yeah, we just got a comment. Sorry for the delayed response here. Armani said the 48 has speed. Poor execution and bad luck is what has resulted in poor results. I agree.
Yeah, I've noticed that a lot. Like I've noticed some races, Johnson's up front at early in the race, but it's the middle and the end part where something goes wrong, like the pit crew or something, blown tire, or he gets caught up in an incident like last night. So that's what happens. So I feel like if that doesn't happen, it'll be better. It's basically they have to execute the whole race. They can't just do good in the first half, but the middle part of stage 2 and the end of the race they don't do good. They have to really execute the whole race.
Right. And that's also the issue I see with William Byron.
Yeah.
Because with Byron, and especially I think Bristol, Watkins Glen was based off conflict, but Bristol, he made the top 10 and I think he was running top 5 at one point. And then a few cautions later, managed to fall to the back.
Yeah.
Never recovered. It's still good to qualify on a strong basis every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this is a big thing in motorsports in general as well. You have to execute. And this is where we see that motorsports is a very human sport. You know, you have to execute. If you don't execute, you're not going to get results. And so the whole team in general, it seems like, is just not executing. They're failing to, I don't want to say put effort, but to really put it all together.
Yeah, Blake, I agree. I think they're definitely putting in all the effort. But I don't know, the chemistry. I don't see strong chemistry like we've seen Jimmy have in the past. during his 7 championships, in pretty much all seasons until this year, he had one car sponsor, one sponsor, Lowe's, one crew chief, Chad Knaus,
Yeah.
2002 all the way to the end of last year, and 7 championships in between. However, if you ask me, was removing Chad Knaus a knee-jerk reaction to his winless season in 2018? I'll tell you no. It's not.
Like I don't know about Jimmy Johnson for 2020. That is, if they could start executing a lot better, I feel like they're going to be better compared to this year and last year. I think they could start being better if they could execute the whole race instead of just executing at the not just executing at one at like the first half just execute, but the second half fall out. But I feel like they could start executing soon, possibly, to be better for 2020.
Yeah, well, here let's talk about another driver who is in a desperate situation to make the playoffs. Ryan Newman is tied with Daniel Suarez for the final for the final cutoff spot. Newman is not in the tiebreaker, of course. However, he's a 2002 rookie, just like Jimmy Johnson. No championships, but we've seen his potential, and Newman's an on-off driver. And I'll compare Ryan Newman immediately to a driver like Clint Boyer, on and off for years. His good seasons, his bad seasons.
Yeah.
I could even argue Eric Almirola. Eric has those same records just as well.
Like Ryan Newman, earlier in the Ryan Newman got 23rd. He was at one point he was not doing that bad until there was contact at one point with Suarez. That I feel like I don't know who's going to do better at Indy because it's Indianapolis. We've seen what happened at Indianapolis 2 years ago. 2017 Indy was not going well at the end of the race where it lasted longer than it was supposed to be. Instead of being a 2 to 3 hour race, it was like there was a 1 hour rain delay, a weather delay, but it was not that. Excluding the weather was just the end of the race where everybody was crashing and not finishing the race. So I don't know. Ryan Newman's had more starts at Indy compared to Suarez. This is Suarez's 3rd start in the Cup Series.
Ryan Newman did win the Brickyard 400 in 2013.
Yes.
Racing.
So Ryan Newman has to really execute and beat Suarez. He has to make sure he scores more points in the race or try to get stage points. Depends how he does that. If he gets some stage points, he gets more points. He has to basically beat Suarez. His focus is on trying to make sure he's running better than Daniel Suarez to make the playoffs.
All right, so I mentioned the drivers outside the cutoff, barely, like Newman and Johnson. Let's go further because you cannot rule out an upset winner. So Paul Menard, who did win the 2011 Brickyard 400, his only Cup Series win since pretty much the entirety of his career. 19th minus he's behind 69 points, and then Chris Buescher behind 86 points, 20th.
Yeah.
Ricky Stenhouse Jr.
Yeah.
is 21st in points. Matt DiBenedetto, who had close call at Bristol, nearly winning the race and shaking the whole grid, 22nd.
Yeah.
And then Dillon Brothers, 23rd, 24th. They have to win. So is Daniel Hemrick.
Oh, my goodness.
25th points.
I'm wondering, why is Ty Dillon doing better than Daniel Hemrick? It's kind of, I don't know if Hemrick will do better in 2020. That's still, I don't know, because Hemrick's in a rookie year, I know that, but he's getting beaten by Ty Dillon in basically a crappier, like a smaller team, Germain Racing. So I don't know about Hemrick getting beaten. But I know Hemrick is leading the rookie standings by But I don't know. I know the second
I can pull it
rookie.
up right now.
Priest is the second highest rookie. It depends where
It depends on where you're sitting in the standings.
So
Ryan Priest is 26 in points, so that means Daniel Hemrick, he's one spot ahead in the rookie points.
So I don't know how many.
And the other driver is Matt Tift, who's 31st in points, Quinn Half 33rd. So yeah, it's Daniel Hemrick with the rookie of the year.
Yeah, like I feel like Hemrick has to do good recently. Like the next, basically till the end of the season to get the rookie of the year. Because I feel like I don't know. Because at one point Ryan Priest was better than after Daytona. Ryan Priest was the higher rookie. But some races like Atlanta, Ryan Priest was not the highest rookie. Was Hemrick because the incident on at Atlanta, the pit road incident where the Priest was not focusing and plowed in the back of BJ McLeod on pit road. That's how, and Hemrick and Priest had close calls, like at the All-Star Open, and they were like Hemrick and Priest were going back and forth, and then at the end, Priest spun Hemrick out. So I feel like, so I literally feel that like it's gonna be interesting at Indianapolis to see who's making the playoffs and who's not.
Right. So I think we'll cover Indy later when we talk about the upcoming races.
Yeah.
For now, let's move on to the NASCAR Xfinity Series, which was race 24 of 33, and there's 2 races left until the NASCAR Xfinity Series playoff begins at Darlington. So the second time in the Top 10 Series this year, the winner was disqualified from victory due to a post-race infraction.
Yep.
Denny Hamlin looked to win for the 6th time at Darlington until post-race tech got the car, and
There's a guy that says
Denny disqualified, so that means 6th win of 2019, leading no laps.
No, he's streaming also. They can hear me, but it's fine. Oh, and Midget Spoon 740660666.
All right. Let's talk about the top 10.
Yeah.
Tyler Reddick is.
I'll go ask them. I want them.
He's the points leader. He finished second, leading.
Oh my god.
70 laps. Ryan Blaney third.
Oh God. I'm back.
Welcome back.
So, wait, did we go over the cup points?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, right.
We're now on to the NASCAR Xfinity Series. So here's the top 10. Colt Custer, 6th win of 2019. Tyler Reddick led 70 laps to finish second. Ryan Blaney, third, led 50 laps. Christopher Bell, second in points. And Dale Earnhardt Jr., his first race since Richmond 2018, finished 5th two-time Xfinity Series champion and NASCAR's most popular driver for 15 straight years. Dale Earnhardt Jr., 5th place. Glad to see him back on track. Back in the paddock after his plane crash.
Yeah.
Chase Briscoe 6th, Brandon Jones 7th, Noah Gragson, Justin Allgaier, and Austin Cindric run in the top 10. By the way, Austin Cindric with his 18th top 10 season, a much positive turnaround, unlike the last appearance he made at Darlington.
Oh yeah, the crash on lap 3 with Ryan Truex. Well, speaking of that last race, that was his final race in the 60 car. They ran of 2018 was at Darlington. That he didn't want to wreck the car, but that was not even his fault last year. That was incident with Ryan Truex in the 11. during that race, Justin Haley had a close call and Hamlin and Justin Haley almost had a close call when John Hunter Nemechek cut a tire in front of him. That was good. I was impressed by Justin Haley almost clobbering John Hunter Nemechek in that 23 car. And you know that Brett Moffitt didn't remember when Brett Moffitt didn't even lead any laps to win the race at Iowa.
Yes, I do.
Custer did not even lead a lap again at Darlington, and he got the win just because Hamlin's disqualification.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, and the top 5 in the playoff in the standings with 2 races worth of playoffs stand the same. Tyler Reddick, 51-point lead over Christopher Bell. Cole Custer, third, minus 136. In fourth place, minus 172 is Justin Allgaier. Austin Cindric is fifth in points, minus 194. Their next race will be Indianapolis for the Lilly Diabetes 250. And we'll talk more about that when we head to the upcoming races. Portion of this podcast. And yes, Danny, I agree. Dale Jr. was good. It was good to see at Darlington.
Yeah, he was. He was really doing solidly, running up there. I was impressed that he was up there, really doing good.
Yeah, that was an impressive drive from him.
All right, moving on. Formula One for the 13th race of the 2019 World Championship, the Johnny Walker Belgian Grand Prix at Spa Francorchamps. And as many of you heard, it was a very somber atmosphere due to the tragic death of Antoine Hubert. And so that was on everybody's thoughts and emotions going into the race. But let's talk about some other things too, such as Marcus Ericsson, who did not run the IndyCar race and traveled to Belgium.
In case of he didn't race, he was on standby for Raikkonen because Raikkonen had a shoulder injury during the summer break, so they had to get a driver. So they asked Ericsson, and I guess Ericsson accepted it to not run the IndyCar race at Portland.
And also, rumors on the horizon for silly season, including Esteban Ocon.
Yeah.
To replace Nico Hulkenberg after the season.
Yep. Then I was shocked to hear that news. When I heard that news, I'm like, okay. I didn't expect that news. People thought it was Ocon gonna talk about him replacing Bottas. That no, Bottas got another year, so Bottas still has. He's gonna run next year also for Mercedes. Toro Rosso, that's unknown. We don't know their lineup. It's unknown if Albon's returning to Red Bull for 2020. After that performance, this depends what Red Bull sees out of Albon for the rest of this 2019 season. We also have McLaren, their lineup's the same. We don't know if Grosjean's going to return to Haas. That's still unknown. We also have can't think about. Williams. Kabita, we don't know if he's returning. Now there's people saying that Nicholas Latifi will drive the second car for Williams with George Russell that still has a contract with Williams. So people think Latifi's going to drive for Williams because he is a test driver for them currently.
Yeah, and being an insider to F1 or a longtime fan of F1, I actually don't see that being very likely, although it's not impossible because a lot of times test drivers don't really make it in. I haven't seen that be very common.
Yeah, I think test drivers usually they work twice as hard to get fast times in order to prove themselves that they belong. And that's another thing too. When you're a test driver, your only purpose out there is to prove yourself and convince your owners and your constructors that hey, this is my time. Put me in the car. Put me in next season, and let's get started. I'm here to prove results, and that's what I'm there for. If I'm trying to paint the picture of a test driver in Formula One, there's no better way to describe them.
Yes, and yeah, like you said, I mean, they're really mostly just testing the car. I mean, obviously, I mean they're a test driver. They're really the team really isn't concerned that much about fast laps when they're testing the car. They're more concerned about the effectiveness of the car and the reliability of the car. Whereas come the season, that's really when they're more concerned about the performance of the car. So a lot of times test drivers really get overlooked, and it is kind of sad, but there is sort of a reason for it as well.
Yeah, I'll get into that. I think the test drive situation is they're all about if you can prove or not, but it's a wild business. I'll say that. Okay, so here's the top three drivers, the podium for this past race at Spa. Charles Leclerc finally captures his first win in Grand Prix racing. Led 38 laps.
Yep.
Lewis Hamilton finished second. 11th podium of 2019. And Valerie Bottas third.
Yep.
So these are the points paying positions. I forgot to mention Valerie Bottas' 10th podium of 2019. Vettel fourth. Albon with his first start in Red Bull, his career best finish of fifth. Sergio Perez sixth. Danny Kvyat seventh. Nico Hulkenberg eighth. Pierre Gasly ninth in his return to Toro Rosso. Lance Stroll 10th in his fifth points paying position of the season.
Huh. By the way, the points, I'm reading off of them. Hamilton extends his points lead by 65 over Bottas. And then third place, Max Verstappen is less than 100 points. Vettel is 99 points out. And Charles Leclerc is 111 points behind. But you know Alexander Albon?
Mm-hmm.
He's moved up to 10th place in points. He's surpassed Norris as the highest rookie in points by 2 points. So Albon already up to he's already up to a 10th place points finish currently. He's only 5 points behind Kimi Räikkönen right now going to Italy. So maybe Albon could get a good top 10 points finish. That would be really good for him this season.
Yeah, Albon made a controversial pass on Perez in the final lap through the grass. However, the FIA declared it with no further action. I agree. That was just good racing.
Like that was not bad compared to Gasly body slamming body slamming Grosjean and putting him in the grass at one of the corners. That Magnussen almost did worse than Grosjean at one point. That I don't know. Grosjean almost did better than Magnussen at the recent race, but no, Magnussen. Magnussen did a better job, but the Lance Stroll got 10th. The only reason he got a point was on the final lap before the checkered flag, right before that Norris was going to take the white flag, he lost power.
Yes, and he lost power at just untimely situation.
And he got 11th because he was a lap over his competition. And no, he lost the spot to Stroll. That Stroll got the final points position, and we've had incidents. We've had 3 cars retired. We had 4 cars retired. We had Lance Stroll, not Lando Norris with that power issue at the end. Right before that, in Sector 3, we had Giovinazzi crashed in the barrier. Lap 1, we had Sainz with no power, and before that, Verstappen's front wing was damaged after contact with Raikkonen, and then he hit the tire barrier. So yeah, we had a couple cars retire. George Russell was better than Kimi Raikkonen, and Robert Kubica was the last car in the race that finished. So that's no shocker there. And the next race for F1 will be at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza on Sunday.
Correct. And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Here's the point standings for the World Championship after 13 races. Lewis Hamilton keeps the points lead. He has 268 points and 8 wins, 11 podiums so far this year. Valtteri Bottas, second in points. He has 2 wins, 10 podiums, and 203 points so far. Max Verstappen, third in the points. Despite his early race retirement, he's still third in the standings with 2 wins, 5 podiums. Then Sebastian Vettel, fourth in the standings over his Ferrari teammate Charles Leclerc, who now finally claimed his first win. Both Ferrari drivers have 6 podiums each. And then outside the top 5 in the World Championship, you have Pierre Gasly, who was demoted to
Toro
Rosso. Carlos Sainz for McLaren. Danny Kvyat in 8th with that 1 podium in Germany. Kimi Raikkonen has 31 points so far in his debut season with Alfa Romeo.
And Alexander Albon, 10th place with 26 points. That Albon actually took over he's the highest rookie now in the points. He passed, now behind them in his 11 is Lando Norris. He passed Lando Norris because actually couple races ago, Lando Norris was 10th while Albon was 15th. So Albon has been gaining points recently because he was 10th. He was 15th while Lando was 10th at one point. Now he's up to 10th while Lando fell down to 11th place. So I feel like if Albon could keep it up, he could close in more on points like on Kimi Raikkonen. He's only 5 points behind Raikkonen going into Italy.
There's a long way to go if you're Lando Norris. And then Daniel Ricciardo, 12th. I thought he'd be higher in the standings. Sergio Perez, 13th. 14th is 14th is the Nico Hulkenberg, Lance Stroll,
Yep.
15th. So far,
Oh,
19 points this year.
yeah.
And then here's the Haas guys.
Magnussen with 18. Grosjean has 8. Then Giovinazzi and Kubica has 1, and then Russell has none yet. But I just realized Perez and Hulkenberg are tied for 13th. That Perez is not having a good season either. Perez not doing good. Stroll either. Both Renault guys, 12th and 14th.
So yeah, I think there's a need for new drivers in Haas going into 2020. That's another conversation left. Speaking of struggling drivers, you have Giovinazzi, Rob Kubica. They each have 1 point, and George Russell's the only driver without points at all this season. 20th. Williams total have 1 point, and as you see in the constructors championship, it's all Mercedes. Their championship lead so far. They have 471 points.
Yeah.
And then you have
it's Ferrari, then Red Bull has 254, McLaren with 82, then Toro Rosso has 51, Renault 43, Racing Point 40, Alfa Romeo has 32, Haas has 26, and Williams has 1. Yeah.
1 point, and that was Robert Kubica from the German Grand Prix.
Well, the German Grand Prix was really chaotic in that race.
Yeah. I think there's a lot more room to improve.
Yes. I think as much as I missed Robert Kubica, I think he wasn't ready to come back to F1.
I don't think he was either, to be honest.
But that is a whole nother discussion for a whole nother time.
But I'm glad he's back, because there's no place I'd rather see Robert Kubica than to be back in the car after all those years of recovering and setbacks and the turmoil that he faced. I just appreciate his presence, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, without further ado, here's the constructors standings in the 2019 World Championship. It looks like this: Mercedes 471 points, Ferrari has 326, Red Bull Racing Honda has 254 points, and then McLaren Renault have 82 points. Scuderia Toro Rosso Honda with 51 points, Renault with 43, Racing Point BWT Mercedes have 40 points, and Alfa Romeo Racing Ferrari have 32. You can thank Kimi for that. Haas has 26 points total this year, and Williams with just 1. Uno punto. All right. Now let's move to IndyCar.
Yep, the Portland Grand Prix. That was quite interesting. Like last year, except it was the same as last year. We couldn't even make it without a lap 1, turn 1 incident again, where Graham Rahal got into the back of Zach Veach, and everybody, a lot of people crashed out. Like both Aero Schmidt-Peterson cars, Hinchcliffe and Daly were out. They collected Veach, Rahal, and a lot of cars were involved in that one incident. And that race, Will Power got the win. Really good for Will Power. I guess that was the plan. The plan for the race Roger Penske said because Will Power is not in the championship hunt right now, he told Will Power to try to beat Rossi to keep Newgarden ahead, which he did. So Newgarden stays the points leader. So
And, yeah, I think Power did a great job staying
yeah,
courteous to the championship
yeah.
battle.
Yeah. Well, that was good for Will Power and Felix Rosenquist, second place in his Chip Ganassi Racing. Rossi third, really good for Rossi. Colin Hurd, the pole sitter, fourth place. That's really good for Colin Hurd and that team. And Joseph Newgarden rounded out the top 5 in that number 2 car.
Yes, but let's just appreciate the drive from both Will Power and Felix Rosenquist. Both of those guys just drove beautifully.
Yeah.
And I think, honestly, Felix Rosenquist has proved himself to Chip Ganassi. I want to see him in 2020 and in future years in the top level racing equipment in the IndyCar series. I think you're looking at a future champion.
Yeah.
I think so as well.
Rosenquist has been really doing good. He's been close at winning races, including this race. That was the last race at Portland. Also, Mid-Ohio, he's really close to
Ohio finished second. I think he almost got him. It was very close.
Yeah, almost beat his teammate, Scott Dixon, in car number 9. So he's been really good this season.
Indeed. Also, the manufacturer standings so far, Honda has the lead over Chevrolet going into the last race for the engine standings. And for the points, for driver points, Joseph Newgarden has the championship lead with 593 points. He's one race away from clinching his second career IndyCar title in the last second championship in the last 3 years. He's almost there.
Yeah. He's
40. Go ahead.
He's been really good. Yeah, he's really doing good this season. There's only one race that he didn't have the point lead. Every other race, it's been him, the points leader. That's really good. He's really proving that he's a championship contender this season.
Correct. So 41 points over Alexander Rossi. Simon Pagenaud is 42 points behind, and I think at this point it's safe to say Scott Dixon's out of the championship hunt, minus 85 in fourth. Will Power fifth, minus 124.
Sato is really out of it at this point. He's like 6th place. Like Sato only has 397. He's basically almost 200 points behind. And at this point, Ryan Hunter-Reay is 213 points out. So but so far, Felix Rosenquist is the highest IndyCar Rookie of the Year right now. He's currently the highest. He's 8th place with 365 points, while Santino Ferrucci has 339 points. So 26 points between Rosenquist and Ferrucci for the Rookie of the Year for IndyCar. Ferrucci dropped to 10th, while Rosenquist is P8. Rosenquist is only 15 points out of 7th place Ryan Hunter-Reay heading into Laguna Seca.
Yeah, and I want to mention that this championship race, the last race of the season, is a double points race. So instead of earning 50 points for winning, you earn 100 points.
So I know one thing is, I know one of the people that wanted to win the championship, Joseph Newgarden really wants to get the championship, like the win, to make sure he has the championship, because we've seen stereotypes when Dixon won the 2015. No, that was Powell. Wait, who won the
2015 was Scott Dixon. He beat Juan Montoya.
Montoya had to pass one car. If he passed Ryan Briscoe, he would have won the championship. So it's those scenarios that you have to be in a certain position to get the championship. And also, one thing that Newgarden does not want to qualify bad.
Correct. You
Newgarden,
want the best thing you could do is start up front.
yeah, you don't want to qualify like. Remember Alexander Rossi at Sonoma last year? Qualified towards the back and had wing damage early, and he lost the championship to Scott Dixon last year because he qualified bad. So he has to make Newgarden has to make sure he makes the Fast Six. That's the final round of qualifying to be up front and having a good car for Laguna Seca.
Yes, qualifying is very important, and it gets very tight in IndyCar, extremely tight.
Yeah.
Especially being that it's the last race,
Mm-hmm.
and we have it's at Laguna Seca.
Yep.
It's not easy to pass at Laguna Seca.
Yep.
Very difficult.
It's been a while since IndyCars run at that track, so it's gonna be really chaotic in that race. So basically, Newgarden wants to make sure he qualifies
You
ahead.
get bonus points for qualifying. Hope you realize.
Yeah, he doesn't want to qualify like last or like 18th like Pagano. He wants to qualify like in the Fast Six to be safe. Because qualifying in the middle of the pack at Laguna Seca while leading the championship is not the best scenario. Because you're behind cars that are in the way and you don't want to get into people and cause a crash. So that's one thing that Newgarden doesn't want to happen.
Exactly.
Ugh.
All right, moving on. Let's get into the another question here. The first time Santino Ferrucci DNF'd this season, and the rookie drivers have you seen this season? Colton Herta, Felix Rosenquist, Marcus Ericsson. You can talk about Marcus Ericsson too. The two Swedes in the rookie of the year battle here, and then of course American Santino Ferrucci. Is it safe to say IndyCar racing has a wider range of driver talent?
I think like they have a lot of talented drivers. Like I remember last year when Santino Ferrucci ran at the duels in Detroit and people mocked him in dual race 1 in Detroit because he plowed into the tire barriers.
Correct.
And then everybody's like, "Oh, he's crap" and all that. Santino Ferrucci got top 10 in his first race. He missed a crash and he got 7th at Indianapolis in the Indy 500 by missing a crash going through the grass. Like that was impressive.
Yeah, he's made a lot of impressive moves this season.
Yeah.
Like I think like just his textbook moves this year are eye catching, like the way he maneuvers over the racks and how I marvel over those things. Like it takes guts to do what he did. However, I see a long way left for Santino Ferrucci and Dale Earnhardt Racing. I expected a little better from Sebastian Bourdais, especially since he's 11th in points. Usually, he's a 4-time champion. One of his only 4 championships came consecutively from 2004 to 2007, and yet Bourdais had like, for example, 2017 before the Indy 500 crash, before his injury, was leading the championship. And
yeah, he was.
I don't see the end of the road for Sebastian Bourdais whatsoever.
Yes, and I think Sebastian Bourdais has really had a mixed season this season. He's had some very good results, but he's had some very bad results as well. He seems very inconsistent this season.
I still see potential in him, even in 2020. If they re-sign him for Dale Coyne Racing, I'm on board with that.
Yeah.
So the last race is Laguna Seca, which is the season finale. That's, I believe, in 2 weeks' time,
Wait.
September 17th.
No, it's 22nd. Yeah, 22nd. So, yeah.
And talking about Laguna Seca for the Monterey Grand Prix, last time they raced at Laguna Seca was 2004
Wow.
with Patrick Carpentier won in the Champ Car race. Which, in fact, we won 2 in a row. That's for another story. And for the next time we talk about IndyCar series. Now let's get into sports cars. The FIA World Endurance Championship, the Silverstone 4 hours, and the European Le Mans Series 4 hours of Silverstone.
Yep.
And of course the 24H series of the Barcelona 24 hours. Let's begin with the headline sports car race of the weekend, which was the season opener for the 2019-2020 FIA World Endurance Championship at Silverstone for the 4-hour race, round 1 of 8. As expected, an LMP1 Toyotas finished 1 and 2. Rebellion third in the number 3 car. Fourth place was the number 5 team LNT, and fifth place was the number 1 Rebellion. Numerous laps down.
Yeah. The number 7, not the 8, the 7. They got a 1. They got a win, so that's really good for that 7 team. They had a 1.9 second lead over the 8. That is Brendan Hartley. That's the 8. But that was good, and there was only 2 cars on the lead lap. With third place Rebellion a lap down, the number 3 Rebellion. And Cool Racing, new team Cool Racing got 5th.
They won LMP2.
Yep, and they got 5th overall. That's good for their number 42. They beat the number 36 Singantech Alpine Elf. Not Madmouth, they switched it with Elf. That was card 36. That the number 91 Porsche GT got the win in the GT Pro class over the number 92. So is Porsche.
Porsche, their game is strong. I mean,
yeah, both
we talk all the time about their consistent factory driver lineups, and whether it's IMSA or GT3 or WC, they don't disappoint. That's their expectations.
Yeah, it was both Porsches, then the Aston Martin 97, but in the GTE AM class, the number 83, the AF course number 83, won by a lap over the number 98 Aston Martin Racing 98. So that was good for that number 83 AF course car.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, that was.
They finished 4th.
Hold on, while we're on the topic of the 83, that is a new lineup for that team.
Yep, it is.
And they won first time out. That is a testament to how well prepared that team is. I think they're definitely ones to watch out for this season in GTM.
Yep. I'm just looking here. The Team LNT's number 6 got 28th overall, while the number 22 United Autosports only completed 2 laps around the track. They were 127 laps down. But 52 lap, they were. So yeah, the 22 United Autosports car got 31st overall. They got last. So that 22 car gets last position. Overall.
Right. And of course, the GTAM class, Aston Martin Racing number 98. They were GTAM victors.
No, it was the 80. Wait, in what class?
GTEM.
It was the 83 AF course. It was the 83 AF course team.
Yeah, we just touched up on that. It's a new.
Yeah, the 83.
Oh, did they get penalized?
It says here they're 18. It says 18th 83 AF course.
No, I'm on Wikipedia.
I'm on the FIA website. It says 83 AF course.
I really should think twice before trusting Wikipedia sources.
Yeah.
That's what it says.
Oh.
Always go with the official site.
Yeah.
Wikipedia may be more pleasantly organized. However, sometimes you have to use the website.
Yeah.
But yes,
but still, good run for Paul Dell'Alana, Darren Turner, and Ross Gunn. I mean,
yeah, that's really good for them, their team.
But yes, moving on to GTE Pro, which we haven't covered yet. Good win, class win from the number 91 Porsche of Jean-Marie Bruni and Richard Leitz.
Yeah.
And actually, that was a 1-2 from Porsche, the number 91 over the 92.
Yeah, Michael Christensen, Kevin Estra were the drivers of that 92 car.
Yep.
Yes. And third place for the 97 Aston Martin with Alexander Lynn and Maxime Martin.
Yep.
All right, and moving on. So their next race is the.
It's 6 hours. 6 hours of Fuji, October 4th.
So they have a month to prepare for that.
Yep.
For the 6 hours of Fuji.
Yeah.
And then afterwards is the 4 hours of Shanghai, which used to be a 6-hour race. And so that's where we'll find the debut of Rick Ware Racing in the LMP2 program.
Yeah.
That's another story. Now let's talk about the ELMS, the European Le Mans Series, 4 hours of Silverstone, the IDEC Sport number 28 won overall in the LMP2 class win. Number 11 Euro National is the LMP3 victors, and for LMGTE is the number 88 Proton Porsche. Their next race is at Spa for round 5 of the season.
Yep. On September 22nd.
Yes.
All right, and then also we have the 24H series of the Barcelona 24 hours. Here are the class winners this from the race. The A6 Pro class was the number 77 Barwell Motorsport. A6M was the number 93 Herbert Motorsport. SPX class winner, 216 True Racing. And the 991 class was the number 978 Speed Lane Racing, if I spell that right, or Speed Law. Can't even read my own spelling. SP4 is the number 526 Nordschleife Racing, team from the Nürburgring, I suppose. And the GT4 class winner was the number 415 car, Orchid Racing Team. And their next race is actually the season finale, the 24 hours of Coda on November 10th. Actually, let me see that again. I think it's November 6th. Yeah, it's November 16th.
Yes. Actually, Joe, I think you forgot something there. The 24 Hours of Barcelona was also the conclusion of the 24-hour series Europe division.
That is true.
Oh, because
with the Bohemia Energy Racing, the Scuderia Praha Ferrari, the number 11 car, winning the championship. Herbert Motorsport, the number 93, getting second by about a point behind. Herbert Motorsport in the number 91 Porsche with 80 points. The Hofor Racing by Bonk Motorsport, number 50 BMW. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that is the 50 BMW, if I'm correct, with 79 points, fourth. Porsche Lorient Racing, number 911, rounding out the top 5 with 78 points.
And so Coda, I think I'm not sure if the 24H series will run it differently, but however, last year they did a two-part 24-hour races, basically two 12-hour races with a break in between. Intervals, the intervals stay the same. So like if you're one lap down at the end of the Saturday portion of the race, you start the Sunday portion one lap down. If I'm not mistaken, I still would like to see a traditional 24-hour race at Coda.
So to answer your question, I am looking at the time schedule, which has already been published on the site for the 24 Hours of Coda. And it looks like there is a part 1 and part 2.
So it's a two-part race, just like last year.
So it's essentially two 12-hour races, yes.
So I think everyone's on board now with the racing in the 24H series. And now let's move on to the miscellaneous events, which I written down 2 of them. First, Arca du Coin, round 17 of 20. Their second of 2 races on dirt tracks.
Yep.
For the DuQuoin State Fairgrounds. Christian Eckes won over Logan Sevier. Logan Sevier is a great dirt racer.
Yep, Logan Sevier.
Corey Heim third, Michael Self, and Kelly Kovsky, the top 5.
Yep, which Christian Eckes led 91 out of the 100 laps, which Kelly Kovsky led 8, and the one other lap was led by Ken Schrader that got 8th for Schrader. Riley Herbst 6, Braden Schrader, Holmes, and last guy on the lead lap was 10th place Ryan Unzicker, which Joe Graff Jr. finished a lap down. Then Bobby Gerhardt behind him 4 laps down, and yeah. And last place was Wayne Peterson in the 0.
Yeah, Wayne Peterson was the owner driver. So after that race, after DuQuoin, Michael Self has a championship lead, extended to 105 points over Christian Eckes.
What?
Holmes, yeah, minus 105.
What I saw was, no, it's 70 points now.
Are you sure?
On the ARCA website, it says Self has 4,180. Eckes has 4,110. So he closed in.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm not sure why. We must have read differently from Racing Reference.
Maybe Racing
Reference. My stats are according to Racing Reference.
I'm looking at the ARCA website because this is 17 race. That was race 17. So this is after they didn't update their points. On here they updated. So yeah, Eckes closed in. He's now 70 points going into Salem. That's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be interesting. Eckes trying to close in because last time we're at Salem was Chandler Smith that won, but Eckes did good last time we went to Salem. So maybe Eckes will have a good chance to close in more going to Salem.
I think so. Don't be surprised if that happens, to be honest.
No.
And the Whelen Modified Tour.
Oh yeah, they were at Oswego Speedway. for their race.
Justin Bonsignor, the points leader, won over
Points leader, Doug Kobe's still.
Doug Kobe, my bad.
Yeah, Justin Bonsignor. Yeah, he got the win.
And Matt Hirschman, second. Ronnie
Yeah.
Silk, third. Craig Lutz, fourth. And Bobby Santos, the third, finished in fifth place.
Yep.
Yeah, you're right, Justin. Doug Kobe is the points leader.
Yep.
Bonsignor, second, minus 37. Ronnie Silk, third, minus 44. Craig Lutz, minus, is that 53 or 83?
83.
83. I can't even remember writing.
And then Eric Goodale, fifth, 108 points out. But Rob Summers actually led the first 64 laps. But then Bonsignor led 37 and 44. Emmerling led 5. So Bonsignor led 81 laps. While Summers led 64 and Patrick Emmerling led 5. And we had 3 cars out of the race: Matt Swanson, Melissa Fifield, and then Timmy Catalano, where Catalano crashed on the first lap. Which there was 3 cars withdrew: Ken Hagee, Kyle Elwood, and Joey Musi
Acharya.
Yeah, they withdrew of the race. And their next race is at
Riverhead.
this weekend, this Saturday, the Miller Lite 200.
That's round 13 of their 16 race tour for the Whelen Modifieds. And now we get into the upcoming races for the weekend. Finally, we're able to talk about the Brickyard 400, which was a radical idea by the Ullman family in 1992 to bring a race aside from the Indy 500 at the Brickyard, which was unheard of at the time. Back then, the only race at the Brickyard was the Indy 500.
Yep.
Strictly the Indy 500. And the Brickyard 400 came to fruition after the announcement was made, and a few popular test sessions, one in 1993, including Richard Petty in the open test, and they were packed crowds, everybody enthusiastic, excited for stock car racing. And in the first race in 1994, NASCAR's record crowd number immediately boomed with that race, and the entry list was so huge they had to do Indy 500 style qualifying with multiple rounds.
Wow.
And the drivers that did not qualify for the race were some of the biggest names in racing history. This was like a race we've never seen before, highly anticipated. In fact, we had over 80 entries.
Holy!
Over 80 entries made the attempted to qualify for the inaugural Brickyard 400.
Actually, it was 86. They would have had 87, but the 62 car withdrew. So 86 entries, holy, for 43 spots.
So I want to read this off for you, because the 1994 Brickyard 400 was like a movie. It's just a race you watch over and over again, and it's heaven. There was 87 entries.
Yep.
And of course 43 made the race. And in fact, the Brickyard 400 in 1994 was the last start for four-time Indy 500 winner AJ Foyt in his NASCAR career. Also, drivers such as Danny Sullivan were in the race, who It's made the term spin and win famous, and won the 1986 Indy 500. Why not we throw in other drivers like Jeff Brabham?
Yep.
How about Mike Chase?
Yep, 42nd in that race. But I'm looking at some of the people that did not make it. You have Joe Ruttman, Dick Trickle, Randy LaJoie, Jim Sauter, Davy Jones, Rick Corelli, John Krebs, Mike Wallace, Robert Presley, Ron Hornaday Jr., Ken Bouchard, Herschel McGriff, Norm Benning, James Hilton, Loy Allen Jr., Charlie Goldsbach,
Charlie Glassback.
Loy Allen Jr., Delma Coward, Kerry T, PJ Jones, Butch Gilliland also. Yeah. Many entries and 62
Billy Standridge.
a 62 car that had no driver that withdrew. I don't know the driver because it's just a question mark. So we'll never know.
Tim Steele, ARCA superstar.
Yep.
Throw in Herschel McGriff. He's Dan Fox.
Yeah, and this is what makes that event just a big part of it holds a special place in NASCAR history.
Right. And when the race started in the first race, you had Jim Neighbors sing the national anthem. Mary F. Holman gave the traditional starting command, just like in the Indy 500. And there was almost 400,000 spectators in the race. And when the race began, it was the first sanctioning body outside of an Indy 500 to take place ever at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And it was a huge deal for the Hoosiers that had all the enthusiasm.
Yeah.
In 1 second. And also, sorry. All right, back into the inaugural race, you had the Bodine brothers make contact.
Oh yeah.
Bodine. And then, of course, Jeff Gordon scored his second career win. It was a young driver in the 1994 after winning in that rainbow colored car. I think that's where his popularity began. Because Jeff Gordon, that's where all the popularity began. Because he grew up wanting to race in Indy cars from Pittsburgh, Indiana, and took the route of stock car racing. And ever since then, he became a superstar. I think it was that race when the Indy 5 the Brickyard 400 with Jeff Gordon made the headlines.
Yeah. But the Brickyard 400 has had it's at their biggest moment, the first race. Remember 2000? What year was it? Like, was it 07 or was it 07? The race where which year was it now? I have to do my research. That Brickyard 400 that tires kept blowing out like a lot of laps.
Yeah, that kind of brings me back to outside of NASCAR, the Brickyard Grand Prix, or not Brickyard Grand Prix. I'm sorry, the U.S. Grand Prix in 2005, when all the I think it was all the Michelins.
Yeah.
pulled
Yeah.
out.
Controversy. And I think, unfortunately, the controversy of the racing at the Brickyard took place then because the tire fall out and the drivers basically they went on strike, boycotted the race, and had a 6-car start. And
Yep.
later, F1 racing at US, I mean, the Brickyard for the US Grand Prix was over.
And also, remember, there was also the 2008 Brickyard 400 where tires, after 10, 12 laps, tires would blow out. Like, I don't even understand how the tires for Goodyear couldn't figure out why tires were blowing after, like, 12 laps maximum. Like, after 12 laps, someone would blow a tire for the 2008 Brickyard 400. That is so interesting. I didn't expect that.
That is a very strange issue with tires blowing out that quickly.
Yeah.
I think the surface at Indy is a little unique, and most tire brands aren't that familiar with the surface. So that could be a reason why we saw that. And NASCAR had the same problem in 2008, which affected the attendance for the Brickyard 400.
Yeah.
And now let's get into let's move on to the records here. For most wins, Jeff Gordon 5, 1994, 98, 2001, 2004, and 2014. So that's 5 total for Jeff Gordon. Jimmy Johnson has 4 wins, including 2006, 2008, 09, and 2012. Dale Jarrett has 2 wins, along with Tony Stewart and Kyle Busch. For most team wins, Hendrick Motorsports has 10. Joe Gibbs Racing with 5, Richard Childress Racing 3, and Robert Yates Racing with 2. Chevy has most wins with 17. Ford has 4 victories. The Toyota has 2, both with Kyle Busch. Pontiac's lone win was with Bobby Labonte in 2000, and Dodge with Bill Elliott in 2002. And on to the Xfinity Series, so Lily Diabetes 250 for race 25 of the season. There's 2 races left on the playoffs. First race was 2012. Brad Keselowski won the race. And here's a fun fact. That's the final race final win for Dodge in the NASCAR Xfinity Series was in that race.
Yep.
And Kyle Busch has the most wins in Indy with 3, meaning Joe Gibbs Racing has the most team wins at 3. Junior Motorsports has 2, William Byron and Justin Allgaier.
Wait. I just realized now, Allgaier won last year in 2017 was Byron. Junior Motorsports has won the last 2 races at Indy for the Xfinity Series. It's going to be hard for them to get 3 wins, possibly. Because if they win at the Brickyard this weekend, there's going to be 3 wins in a row for Junior Motorsports at Indianapolis.
Yeah, and I think they have a great shot to win 3 in a row. But Allgaier has experience. That's why I count on him. Plus, they have that unique aero package.
Do you want to know what else I just realized about that race?
Yeah.
Kyle Busch's last Xfinity race is at Brickyard. His last start of this Xfinity season. His 7th and final Xfinity start will come this weekend. Kyle Busch even said that it's less. Even on Kyle Busch's website, it says his schedule. I clicked Xfinity, and Indy's his last race for the Xfinity season.
Right. Moving on. Let's talk about Formula One. This weekend we had to Monza for the Italian Grand Prix, race 14 of 21. first race, and I'm only doing this under the modern world championship years. So that obviously is 1950 with Giuseppe Farina, who won that race. 5 wins. The 2 drivers have the most wins. There's 5 at Monza with Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton. 4 wins, Nelson Piquet. Juan Manuel Fangio, Sterling Moss, Ronnie Peterson, Alain Prost, Rubens Barrichello, and Sebastian Vettel have 3 wins. Alberto Ascari, Phil Hill, John Surtees, Jackie Stewart, Clay Regazzani, Niki Lauda, Ayrton Senna, Damon Hill, Juan Pablo Montoya, and Fernando Alonso each have 2 wins. And last year, of course, was Lewis Hamilton. Also, this track, the only time in modern Grand Prix history that they did not race in the Monza for the Italian Grand Prix was Juan Ayrton Senna at Imola, and I believe that was 1981. Also, this track on the first career win for Vettel, the first and only win so far for Toro Rosso in 2008.
Hey, by the way, the race that 1981 was at Monza, I guess. 1980 was not won by Ayrton Senna, was Nelson Piquet. So it could have been 79. I don't know. Wait, let me check what's 79 quickly.
No, the modern Grand Prix history had been 1950 had been at Monza, except for that one race where Senna won.
That was 19.
All right, without further
But it
ado,
says 19.
here's the most constructive wins. For most constructive wins, Ferrari with 18, it's their home playground. McLaren with 10, Mercedes with 7, Williams 6, Lotus have 5 wins. BRM and Brabham have 3. Maserati, Vanwall, Renault, and Red Bull each have 2 wins. The Italian Grand Prix. All right. You guys have any final thoughts? Because we are running out of time. I'm at the hotel, not in my house, and wasn't able to get our money on the podcast. Let's talk about predictions before we go off air. Who do you have winning the Brickyard 400?
Whew. I got my pick. He won twice at Brickyard 2015, 2016. I feel like Kyle Busch will win the Brickyard 400 for a 3rd time in his career.
I am unsure of my pick at this time.
The closest was 2017 until a fiery accident in turn 1 with Kyle Busch. Martin Truex Jr. will win for the 5th time and capture the Brickyard 400. All right, Blake, your turn.
So I am actually pretty unsure as to who I want to pick. Looking at the stats, we have some former winners, which none of them are very competitive this season, or even racing at all.
All right, Danny Jara 48 in the chat says you picked Denny Hamlin to win. Denny finished 2nd, I think, last year or 3rd. He was passed 2 left ago. Yeah, 3rd place because Eric Jones got 2nd.
Yeah.
I would say Denny Hamlin, but he hasn't been doing that well this season. I mean, he has been doing well, but not really well.
All right. So you're gonna go with Hamlin?
I may go with. I think I'm going to go with Kyle Busch.
Kyle Busch, great pick, 2-time winner, has 3 wins in the Xfinity Series at the Brickyard. So, yeah, 5 times in total for the top series. Let's see. So I think we're good with our picks for the Brickyard 400. Now for the Lilly Diabetes 250 Xfinity Series race, I'm picking Justin Allgaier to win this one. What's up, Marnie?
All right, hold on. All right. First of all, for those who don't know why I haven't been on, my dog passed away on Friday, so I'm still kind of recovering from the process, so that's why. However, if you're looking at this is something I have to mention. I have to mention that I'm going to get out of here. But I have to mention this. My Brickyard 400 pick, I've been saying it for the last, hold on, I'm trying to charge my laptop, as you can see. This is probably what John Force feels like, just out of fucking nowhere, a bunch of crazy shit. Anyway. Okay. So Jimmy Johnson's winless streak is at race 84 now. For those who know me, watch personally, Twitter, all that good stuff, they know that I've said that Jimmy Johnson will end his winless streak at race 84. So therefore, Jimmy Johnson is my Brickyard 400 pick and will lock himself into the playoffs to tie Jeff Gordon for most Brickyard 400 wins. Us 48 fans must hold out hope.
I see what you did there with the 84.
Yep.
84 races since his last win, 84 career wins total, 83.
Mm-hmm. All right, now I'm out of here. I just had to say that. That's all I had to say. I'm out of here.
Right.
Follow me on Twitter, VelocityWRM. Follow me. You all know that shit.
Okay.
All right. So guys, let's talk about the Xfinity race. I'm going with Justin Allgaier.
My pick. He's been doing good lately. He's leading the point. I feel like Tyler Reddick is going to break the streak for Junior Morrison, and he will win at the Brickyard.
I want to say my pick is going to be Tyler Reddick as well.
Tyler Reddick. I think you cannot count out Reddick. It don't matter what. Especially, I think after the Bristol race, we learned it because he started like he was not allowed in qualifying because of that infraction, and took a car from the back and ended up winning the race. After all, I still think Justin Allgaier is going to win. I'm just positive. But let's move on to the Formula One, the Monza. We saw Ferrari capture for the first time in 2019 in the first race since the U.S. Grand Prix last year when Kimi Räikkönen won before leaving the team, giving the seat to Charles Leclerc. And Charles Leclerc finally captured that elusive top step of the podium. Who's going to win the Italian Grand Prix?
My pick for the Italian Grand Prix, he has 5 wins. I feel like Lewis Hamilton's going to get his 6th win at Monza, and I think Lewis Hamilton's going to win again and extend his points lead. going to. I feel yeah. So I feel like Lewis Hamilton's going to win at Monza.
I am inclined to say that Valtteri Bottas may challenge Lewis Hamilton, and he may get a win this season, or he may get a win at Monza, rather. He has already got a win this season, I think, right?
Yeah, Bottas has 2 wins this season.
Yes, he has. He has, yeah, two wins this season.
All right, so there's that. I think for the Italian Grand Prix, Sebastian Vettel will pick up his 4th win. He's won once for Toro Rosso, and in surprise fashion, under wet conditions, he picked up 2 other wins for Red Bull. So that's 3. And then I see win number 4 in a Ferrari. It will be a party. The track will storm after the race in true fashion with Ferrari flags. Sebastian Vettel wins the Italian Grand Prix.
I think you forgot the Tifosi going crazy.
That's true.
In your wildly vivid description there.
I'm being honest. I think Ferrari has momentum after Spa, and there's only strength now. You know, we saw how heartbreaking Bahrain was. Charles Leclerc dominated from pole until the mechanical failure took him out of the picture. We saw the controversy in Canada. If you don't remember, the FIA gave a time penalty to Vettel where many people disagree, saying that should have been a clean move. It was accidental and was no malintent. And then, of course, the battle between Leclerc and his name Max Verstappen in Austria.
Yes, and yeah, I think that is the story of the season. Is Ferrari is Mercedes is still really the car to have, but Ferrari and Red Bull are really giving them a run for their money.
Indeed. All right, and Danny says he picked Hamilton to win in Monza, and if that happens, he'll break Michael Schumacher's he'll break the record and be in his own with the most wins of all time with 6. Because Michael has 5 wins at Monza. And Lewis Hamilton won last year.
Yep.
Also, let's talk about silly season for a moment in F1. Is Esteban Ocon deserving of that Renault ride next year?
I don't know about Hulkenberg. I don't know why they dropped Hulkenberg, because Hulkenberg has no ride yet confirmed. We don't know what team is. We don't know if Hulkenberg's returning to F1. I don't know if he's going to drive it. We still don't know. So I don't know about Ocon going to Renault and Hulkenberg getting dropped.
Another thing Both Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton are out of contract at the end of 2020.
Oh. I'm wondering about Hulkenberg. Where can he go for the 2020 season? Like,
So yeah, for 2020, we're still gonna have Mercedes have the same lineup, but for 2021, we are not sure.
like the teams with unknown drivers. Alfa Romeo, Raikkonen stayed. Giovinazzi's unknown yet. Same thing with Haas. Grosjean's so far, don't know if Grosjean's returning. We only have Magnussen confirmed. Red Bull Honda, we only have Verstappen confirmed. Don't know about Albon yet. Williams, we don't. Williams, second unknown driver is unknown. We still have Russell still there. Toro Rosso, we don't even know who's going to drive for Toro Rosso in 2020 yet.
All right, guys. So I got my pick. I have Vettel. Like, do you have yours?
Yeah.
My pick,
Yeah.
for Monza,
Yeah.
that was Valtteri Bottas.
Toss. Okay. Justin, you?
Hamilton.
Hamilton. So yeah, 2 for Hamilton. I got Vettel. He's got Bottas. So there's that. I think we covered it all tonight. And
There's little events going on this weekend. The smaller events like Penny Series is racing at Autodrome St. Eustache. We have the modified race going on this weekend. That's all the racing this weekend
modified Penny Series. Where are they racing?
at Autodrome St. Eustache. St. Eustache, yeah. There's F2s racing again at Italy after that sad week. So that's basically all the events for this weekend.
Yeah.
Okay. I think we covered it all. We're all good. I know we had late updates on Twitter because it was a long debate whether to do the podcast or not. However, we decided to pull it off and get this episode 22. Follow our Twitter at WRM Media Group.
Yeah.
Instagram at World Racing Media. Facebook at Facebook. Follow World Racing Media and just keep tuned to our social media platforms. And we'll be back next week.
Yep.
When we cover episode 23. Well, that'll do it.
Yeah.
Be sure to tell your friends about us.
What's up, Blake?
I said, be sure to tell your friends about us.
Yeah. 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 We need people that are watching. Tell your friends. Tell people that come watch our channel on the podcast.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a nice night.